Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Women Techsters Open Day event. We're super excited to have you. If you're just joining us, just give me a minute to open up the chat box just so that you can let me know where you're joining us from. I'd like to meet you. I'd like to get to hear your name, the country you're joining us from. Yeah, so just use the chat box to type in your name and where you're joining us from. That's okay. So I'd like to get to meet you. Oh, hi from Kenya. So great to see you. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'd like to get to meet you. Oluwatosin from Nigeria. Okay, so let me check it again and see where you all are joining us from. Hi, Oluwatosin from Nigeria. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I can see Ifemena from Nigeria. I can see Mushope also from Nigeria. Rachel Namiba from Kenya. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I can see Janita Anyango from Uganda. Rita from Abuja, Nigeria, the north central of our country here in Nigeria. It's a great pleasure to meet you. We have Inulua from Nigeria. Quite a number of us. Oh, so cool. I can see Seniat from Ethiopia. I hope I got your name correctly. It's a great pleasure to meet you. Keep it coming. Like to get to know you, especially those that are not joining us from Nigeria, right? So I would love to really get to read from you. I can see Lillian from Kenya, and I can see Tigis from Ethiopia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mwamba from Uganda. It's really a great pleasure to meet everyone from across the African countries, right? I'm so excited to meet each and every one of you. This is the 10th open day we are holding in the year 2022. Yeah, from January down to this date, we've hosted the Women Techsters Open Day event, and it's always been phenomenal to get to meet amazing women who share their journey in tech, and the experiences that they share have been important and really helpful in helping young people navigate the tech space, right? In helping them make informed decisions about their tech journey. So it's always a wonderful experience where we get to meet again at every last Thursday of the month. If this is your first time joining us for the Women Techsters Open Day, I promise you it's always quite insightful and very interesting. So stay till the end, don't leave halfway. I'm sure you're going to learn a lot of things today. And if this is not your first time, welcome back again. And thank you for always being here and always making it a date with us. I'm sure that you get to learn amazing things again in another session of the Women Techsters Open Day. So I'll just quickly walk you through the agenda that we have today, and then we'll kickstart the program proper. So I'll be shortly after this brief introduction and walking you through the agenda, I'll be handing over to the Women Techsters Programs Lead at Tech for Dev in person of Blessing Ashi. She's going to give a brief opening remark and a short welcome address, standing in the gap for our Executive Director at Tech for Dev, name of the person Oladura Oladepo. And after that, I'll be playing a short video to talk about one of the programs that we have under the Women Techsters initiative, which is the Women Techsters Fellowship. So you get to know a little from the video intro that I'll be sharing. I'll also be introducing the guest speakers that we have today. Trust me, amazing women, phenomenal women who are going to be sharing stories that are going to impact your lives greatly, right? I'll be introducing them, I'll be reading out their bios so you get to meet them. And then immediately after that, we'll jump into the fireside chat where we're going to have all the speakers interact with the moderator who is going to be moderating the fireside chat. And after that, you get to ask your questions and your answers. So a quick thing to note when asking your questions is that it's great to use the Q&A tab so that your question can be easily accessible. If you ask your questions in the chat box, it can be missed with the comments and comments that are being made, and it will not be identified as a question. So please use the Q&A tab to ask your question, and use the chat box to, give your comments. Like if you're finding something very insightful, you can put it on the chat box, just so that everybody we engage with each other, right? Yeah. So another thing to note is that while you are listening to this session, while you are listening to keynotes, words that are making sense, that are hitting a part of you, you might also want to share it on social media. You can tweet about it, you can post it on LinkedIn, you can post it on Instagram, and I'll be sharing hashtags that can be used during the session and even after the session if you want to share it after the session, right? Yeah. So after that, we'll share the Women Techsters program activities, all the program activities that we in the as Tech for Dev host under the Women Techsters initiative. We'll share that, and then we'll take the announcement and the closing remarks, and then we'll call it a day. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Blessing Ashi, who is going to be taking a brief opening remark and welcome address. So good to meet every one of you. Trust me, I'm reading it. I can see people from South Africa, from Mozambique, from Kenya, from Delta State in Nigeria. I'm super excited to have everyone of you on the call today. Hi, Blessing, over to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to believe everybody can hear me. So good to be here again. This is the 10th edition for the year 2022. Welcome everybody to the October Open Day for the Women Techsters Initiative. It's so good to give a more like a mini address. Unfortunately, our executive director in person of Oladipo is unavoidably absent. She has to be in a meeting, but she sends her love and her regards, and she personally is grateful to everyone who has been following her, and actually for people who have continuously supported our journey. I know that some weeks back we put out a call for a vote, and we are always glad that every time we do that, you always respond. So yeah, for people who are joining us for the very first time today, welcome. You're in a good place. This is the Women Techsters Open Day, and all we do here is to ensure that women have access to industry experts who would share knowledge on how they started their career, things that they were able to do to navigate hurdles. I mean, there would always be hurdles on the journey, but it's also important to learn how not to allow the storm to keep you down. And that's what we do at Women Techsters Open Day. My name is Blessing Ashley, like Tony introduced. I am the Women Techsters Programs Lead at Tech for Dev, and I am really excited to especially welcome all of you to the 10th edition of the Open Day. Part of what we also do is just to give a little bit of highlights. If you've been following the Tech for Dev and maybe the Women Techsters, actually on social media, you would realize that we just concluded the Women Techsters bootcamp for 2.3, and for 2.2 rather, and I mean, we will be calling out an application for 2.4 simply because we already selected some people who will be going on the bootcamp for 2.3. And I mean, the Women Techsters is a program that is set to, what's the word? Give women advantage. So just to give a bit of highlight for our first timers, the Women Techsters Initiative has five programs under it. We have Tech Girls Drive. Drive is to encourage young girls. I mean, you can target as to catch them young, to encourage young girls within the ages of 8 to 20 years to chart a career in tech, or rather to understand what tech is all about. That's what we do under the Tech Girls Advocacy Drive. So we go to secondary schools, junior, senior, and even some primary schools to speak to girls about STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And then we also debunk the norms and cultural nuances that people have heard when it relates to STEM. And then we have the bootcamp. You're here on the bootcamp. The bootcamp, like Tony said, is an avenue for you to be able to, rather, you are here on the Open Day. And the Open Day, as Tony said, is an avenue for you to be able to chat with industry experts. I can see Faith Ndala, I can see End, and El Gohari, and I can see Joy on the call. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time to be a part of this meeting. Thank you for taking out time from your very, 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 very busy schedule. We do not take this for granted. We believe that this is a great avenue for women to learn, and we know that your seeds that will be sown today, in the future, you'll be able to see women, who will make you proud. I mean, women who would be determined because of the program or joining the session today. So thank you so much, ladies, for taking out time to be here on the call today. And then, so I would like to continue. So we also have Women Techsters Bootcamp. The bootcamp will be, another bootcamp will be going live next week. So after your session today, if you are, I'm sure it would inspire you. I'm very sure it would inspire you. And your next question would then be, where do I start from? How do I go from here? How do I start the career based off what I've learned? The bootcamp is a good place for you to start from. Remember that the bootcamp is for 3 weeks, and all of our programs are Tech for Devs are tuition free. So you don't have to pay any fee from registration up onto certification. You don't have to pay anything because it's tuition free. Yeah, so watch out for the bootcamp when it comes go out. And then we have the fellowship, the Women Techsters Fellowship. The Women Techsters Fellowship is a 1 year, 6 months of training, and then 6 months of internship. Currently the fellowship is in its 11th week. Amazingly, it's in its 11th week. We have been having great time, learning. It's very, very power-packed. So if you're here and you're also thinking about starting a career in the tech ecosystem, you can start preparing towards the fellowship. Call for application goes up March every year. So the next call for application will go up in March of 2023. And then finally, we have the masterclass. So we have a masterclass. It's scheduled for women who are between 6 months of experience to like 5 years of experience in a particular learning track. So every month we have different learning tracks that we do. We have the masterclass we have a masterclass scheduled for tomorrow and Saturday, and is on cybersecurity. As you know, that this month is also the month for cybersecurity. So we have a masterclass on cybersecurity on Kill the attack chain. It's really going to be very insightful. So yeah, I don't intend to bore you. I just really needed to just say some of the things that we do at Tech for Dev. Tech for Dev is non-profits. For people who are just joining us, we have been in existence since 2016, and we have a mandate. Our mandate is to ensure that your individuals have access to digital skills, while the Women Techsters Initiative, our mandate is to preach STEM to young people, and also most importantly is to get lots more women to do chart a career in STEM. So I'm really excited about this session. I have my writing materials here with me. I have a notepad, I have a pen, I have my mind, I also have internet, stable internet. So I'm here to sit to learn. I also hope that you have the same. So if you don't have that, please ensure you have one. The writing material, that's either you have your book, your pen, or your notepad. Ensure you have a stable internet or multiple sources of internet, just in case something pops up. And most importantly is I have my mind and I'm ready to learn, ask questions. I hope you do so too. So I'll be handing over the floor back to Tony, but I can see that a lot of people some people are joining us for the very first time. I know somebody also said that she's been she's been applying for the boot camp multiple times and she has not been selected. I really, 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 really want to say that we're sorry about that. It's a very, very competitive process. We ask you to try one more time. I'm sure that Tony will be of help, so yeah. So welcome everybody, ladies, and let's have a fun time. Get your seat best because I have my cha-cha and I am ready for the drive. I'm ready to be cruised around the whole world, and I'm ready to learn. Thank you, and well done, Tony. You are doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much, Blessing. That was a wonderful welcome address, right? I'm sure that it inspired a lot of ladies on the call today to get to stay and learn more from the Open Day event today and also other programs that the Women Techsters Initiative offer. So I'm going to be sharing a video right now, and I would encourage you to pay good attention, listen attentively, and I'm sure that you'll be inspired by this video.
There's an African African proverb that says that when you train a woman, you train a nation. When you train a woman has the ability to provide some sort of like 3x on ROI or whatever training it is that you give to a woman. If the training is meant to provide some sort of financial freedom, for example, for the woman, which is the case of the Women Techsters, we believe that women are able to then provide for their families, which then immediately also allows for the family's income generation to impact that of their immediate community or impact that of the nation. The problem we're trying to solve when we initiated the Women Techsters program is being able to bring women to partake within the opportunities that exist within the technology ecosystem and actually finding a balance, which is having more women join the ecosystem to be able to both partake of the opportunities and also be able to contribute to the industry.
By 2030, we want 5 million women to be empowered with technical skills and use their skills to either start up their tech-enabled businesses, further their career in the tech space, or establish their own tech startups and tech-enabled businesses.
Microsoft has been an amazing and fantastic partner. Just beyond supporting us with funds, has actually gone into supporting us, like giving us technical support, like donating Azure to us, donating licenses to us, and supporting us with other forms of software and hardware to ensure that we're able to deliver effectively on whatever program it is we're partnering on.
Today is the Meet and Greet event that is holding in Lagos State. The Meet and Greet event is organized for our Women Techsters program beneficiaries to be able to have a physical connect. Because of the COVID-19, we're not able to have a physical meet-up. So most of our training has been carried out virtually, and we have women connecting online.
Community building is very important to the Women Techsters initiative. It's a community that allows women to grow, women who haven't ever been in the tech space, to grow, encourage themselves, and just keep on pushing themselves to succeed.
If I were to describe my experience in the Women Techsters program, awesome. I would say it was phenomenal.
For me, it's inspiring.
Mind-blowing.
My experience at the Meet and Greet has been so beautiful. It was so nice to say, Amaka, you are Favor, you are Asat.
So it's been really awesome how that those you related with virtually, you're now able to put a face to the name. I've tried many things. I've tried to go for other classes and it just didn't work out. It looked impossible. At a point, I just felt maybe this is not for me. Tech for the Women Techsters, Microsoft gave me the opportunity to see that it is for me. And it's a big thank you from this end.
I'm so grateful that there's a platform like this that other women can join and scale up in tech.
They're doing so much to see that women become better versions of themselves and go out there and explore tech.
I thank Microsoft for their open hands, for believing so much in the girl child. I think the best way to appreciate these two wonderful organizations is by not stopping here.
To any young woman out there who is trying to get into the tech space, I would say, believe in yourself. You can actually do it. Tech is not as difficult as people think it is. There are tons of career paths within technology that even have nothing to do with you writing a line of code. I mean, for example, there's product design, there's product management, there's data analysis, and amongst others. So I would say to every woman, believe in yourself. Whatever you think you can achieve, you can do it.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm sure you enjoyed the video and I'm sure you picked one or two from the video. If for anything, I'm sure you picked the last words of our executive director. Believe in yourself, you can do it. Yeah, if you are just thinking, if you're ideating within yourself to see if tech is for you, yes, it is for you. You can do it. There's no stereotype to what kind of woman can thrive in the tech space, right? It's a level ground that everybody can get to experience and work in. So I hope to see you at the top, and I hope that you are inspired to start your career in the tech space. So I'll be introducing the beautiful and amazing women we have today on the Women Techsters Open Day that are going to be sharing their tech journey with you. And this is just so that you can learn some experiences might be similar to what you're currently going through. and some you might not be able to relate with, but you'll be able to pick some lessons from it, right? So I'll be reading out their bios, and as I'm reading out our speakers' bios, they'll be turning on their videos just so that you can see them, right? So I'll be starting with our moderator. Moderating the session today is amazingly Adiola Abayomi. Now, a fun fact about Adiola Abayomi is that she's a Women Techsters alumni. If you remember the short video you just watched now, Adiola was part of those women that you saw in the video, and Adiola is now a product manager at Wema Bank. She's responsible for creating people-centered products. She possesses over 4 years of experience in digital marketing and business development, and she has completed an MBA grade program for visionaries at Visionary Compass Accelerator Program. Adela is also a public speaker, and as a public speaker, she has addressed the Desh Baguette University in India, Liverpool, John Moores University, the UCAM in Spain, the Tribune newspaper in Nigeria, the Green FM, Ghana, among many other institutions. She also hosts the personal and professional development workshop team, Becoming More with Della. Across various states in Nigeria, she has impacted the lives of over 30,000 people, old and young, and she still seeks to impact the world with her knowledge and wisdom. Adela will be moderating the session with our wonderful speakers on the call today. Hi, Adela. Thank you for joining us on Women Techsters Open Day for today.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you.
All right. So I'm also introducing another amazing woman, Joy Kature. Joy is a professional and reliable security analyst who has ample experience with web, mobile, API penetration testing, and SOC monitoring. She is currently expanding her knowledge on forensic investigation. Joy is also passionate about development and peer-to-peer mentorship. Joy, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really a great pleasure to have you on the Open Day today.
Thank you, Joy.
All right, so great to have you, Joy. We also have Hend El Buhari. Hend is joining us from Egypt. Hend is a user-centric product designer, vastly experienced in both UX design and motion graphics design. She consistently aims to build digital products for mobile and web platforms that can be conveniently used. She currently works as a senior product designer at Fowry, which is the leading provider of e-payment and digital finance solutions in Egypt. And it's a great pleasure to have you on the Open Day event today. We're so glad that you could make it.
Hi, Toyin. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here. So we also have Faith Ndala. Faith is an experienced engineer with a passion for generating data-driven and software engineering solutions, committed to aiding businesses in growing in software engineering and machine learning through cutting-edge technology to solve challenges, providing value and driving growth. She studied BCom IT management at the University of Johannesburg before moving to BCom Hons at the University of Cape Town, and she began her career as a system analyst and then moved on to software engineering and then machine learning, and now she is the digital technical lead at one of South Africa's most prestigious institutions, which is the Standard Bank South Africa. It's a great pleasure to have you on the call, Faith. Thank you so much for making it a date with us. Fun fact about Faith was supposed to come on the Open Day earlier than now. However, we had to reschedule, and she was so kind and generous enough to also still make it a date with us, right? Thank you so much, Faith. It's really a great pleasure to have you on the Open Day this month. Yes, so that's it. We have this amazing women on the call today, and trust me, you want to have your notepads ready. You want to have whatever it is you want to use to jot ready, because it's going to be an amazing session, right? And so I'll be handing over now to Adiola Abayomi. Remember to use the Q&A to drop your questions, and also drop key points and lessons you're learning in the chat box, where the panelists can see it and easily know that you're following them. Over to you, Abayomi.
All right, thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Good evening, everyone, wherever you're listening to us from, Nigeria, South Africa. I've seen a lot of people, say they're from Ethiopia. I've seen people from, Kenya. We have so many people, and it's so motivating to see that there are a lot of women who are looking to transition to tech. right? And it's so good also to see that Tech for Dev is doing an amazing job with bridging every single person with the knowledge that they need, right? So for a lot of people, if they had this opportunity earlier, it would have been easier for them to transition into tech. But thankfully, we have this opportunity, and I'm hoping that for whatever thing that we learn here, we are going to apply them. We're not just going to hear, we're not just going to listen, but we're also going to apply them, right? So welcome, Faith. My panelists, my distinguished panelists, do you want to show our faces? I mean, I just want to see us. Let everybody be able to put a face to the name. Joy, Hand, let's have you. Let's see your face, right? Yeah, beautiful women. Beautiful women, right? It's so good to have us here. So I mean, I'll just be going around a couple of questions, and I feel like for the core reason why we're here, you know, just really to look at how we're able to get into tech, our challenges, you know, some of the things that we faced along the line, what exactly your story is like, to inspire a lot of other women to think about transitioning into tech, looking at tech as something that is not so hard. It's not as hard as people put it out there, especially for women, right? So I will just pass on the mic to three of you, right? So what has been in tech been like, right? So I want you to put in like about 2 to 3 sentences. What has it been like for you at the moment? What do you do, right? What are the processes? What are the systems that you oversee, and how has it been for you? So I don't know, Faith, would you like to go first?
Yeah,
Right.
it has been really like an amazing journey. I'm doing something that I'm very passionate about, something that I really love doing. I look forward to all Mondays, you know. I recently embarked on this new role of being a technical lead. I've always been like a developer, being behind the computer and coding, but now I'm more focusing on making sure that the developers who are reporting to me are actually implementing what the business requirements wants. I oversee recruitment, I oversee procurement of different third-party systems. I oversee the implementation and the delivery of the entire corporate business at Standard Bank in South Africa. And it has been a good journey so far. Like I'm definitely enjoying it. It's very, very nice.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Hand, would you go for it?
Well, if I have to describe my journey in only 3 words or in only one sentence, I'd say it has been a hell of a journey, because at the very early stages of my role or of working as a product designer, I had a very hard time trying to establish my existence in the design field and the technology field. And I believe this is the very normal at these very early stages. And I believe most of the newbies and the juniors have to go through the same hard times at the very beginning of their career. But I believe all the obstacles and all the challenges that I had faced during these times are the thing that actually shaped my existence. They shaped my current existence, they shaped my brand, they helped me establish a solid ground for myself in among the many other experts and the many other talented designers out there. So I'm very grateful. I'm very pleased with what I've achieved so far, but I believe there's so much more to be done. So yeah, this is briefly how I see all the years that I've been designing as.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to go back to something you said, but I want to take Joy now. Joy, how has your journey been?
Maybe I can just sum it up by saying it's been an adventure, because I've started up in web development, gone to mobile development, then a bit on IoT, but they weren't really picking my nerve per se. So that's how I ended up in cybersecurity. And I really love where I am right now. I get to do penetration tests on some days. I also get to do soft monitoring, which is basically ensuring that the clients are dependent on all ends. And above all, I get to do trainings, which I really love doing. So I would say I'm in a very good space, and I still see room for growth, especially in the space. And I hope to see knew more ladies in this space because we are quite few, if I would say so myself.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much. I love Joy's way of, infusing something inspirational, and that makes a lot of sense. So, Hen, as you were speaking, you said something around how you used your early stage to sort of define your existence. I want to touch a bit on that. What do you mean when you say that?
Okay, let me just go back in time to when I started, when I shifted my career to work as a product designer. I came from a very unrelated field. I wasn't actually specialized in a certain field. Because I used to work in many back office jobs. They had nothing to do with technology, they had nothing to do with design. So when I decided to shift my career and start working as a product designer, it was actually based on an advice I got from someone that I came to know during that time, I believe in 2017. I thought to myself, I could give it a try. I could give it a shot. I have nothing to lose, because I wasn't even happy with what I was doing back then. I never felt that I related to any of the jobs that I had back then. I felt that this is not what I want to be doing. I want to be doing something that I'm passionate about. And the thing is, I have always been passionate about playing around with the visuals, with images, with the Photoshop and these stuff. So I thought to myself, why not give it a try? And I actually did shift my career back then in 2019. The obstacles and the hard time I was talking about are how I struggled to get as many freelance projects as I could, because it was impossible for me to find a full-time job at that time, because I had no experience whatsoever, and no one would ever hire someone with 0 years of experience. So I thought the only way to do this was to get as many freelance projects as I could, to start standing out there among the many other talented and experts in the design field. And this is actually what happened. I worked on a couple of freelance projects, and then after that I could land my first full-time job as a product designer. And it all started from that point. It happened like in a blink of an eye. I suddenly found myself being put in a place where I'm a role model for some of the newbies out there. For a lot of junior designers get in touch with me, asking me to be their mentor, to give them guidance on how they could start their career. A lot of designers actually shifted their career exactly the way I did. So I suddenly found myself in a place where people look up to me and reach out to me for advice and for inspiration. So this is how I believe I did all I can, and I exerted a lot of effort to get where I am now. But it's, as I said before, it's not enough, because I have to keep in mind that my learning journey shouldn't have an end. It should be a habit. It should be an ongoing habit. So yeah, I'm very thankful for establishing the brand I currently have for myself, and I hope that I could maintain it on the long term.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I see someone say they can actually relate with your story, how it's like can be stressful and really painful at the beginning, but at the end of the day, you sort of like get yourself. Thank you so much for sharing. So Faith, I want to say to you, you work at Standard Bank. Is this Standard Bank? Because can you tell me that how you got into such firm? I mean, it's so amazing, right? The fintech, right? So my question for you is, how did you get in there? And aside that, how has it been for you as a woman working in that space, in a male-dominated space? Can you give us about, say, 2 to 3 factors that you can say should help a woman working in a male-dominated industry?
My story is very colorful, and hoping someone will also relate to that. So I come from a very underprivileged community in South Africa where, you know, computer was a luxury. I had no idea. Actually, when I went to university, I have not touched any laptop. And one would wonder, then how did you select IT, right? And before I get into that, all the answers or my responses today will be coming from you know, my experience has been in the technical side of IT, like software development, like programming and machine learning, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. Now to go back, how did I end up here? So when I was going through the University of Johannesburg brochure, I came across a career named Become IT Management. And by that time, I didn't even know that it was IT. I pronounced it as IT because I had no idea that it stood for IT. But it sounded so good, right? I was like, oh, this is so different. And I was like, I'm going here. I had no idea what it entailed. I got to the university and wow, Greek, like it was a Greek language that was so difficult. I'm like, did I really make a right choice here? You know, my first years was really like trying to discover if did I really make a right choice because I was coming from a science background and I was looking for something that is challenging, but I was like, I'm not sure if this is for me. But through mentorship, you know, and perseverance and my curiosity, I actually persevered in the degree and I loved it, right? So how did I get where I am? So I don't have so much experience in the industry, right? So I started as a graduate program, like I have in total 5 years of work experience this year. And I know one will say, you have climbed the ladder so fast, and that's true. And I will tell you why. In this field, the most three important things I've learned and that have helped me to be where I am. The first thing that we need to understand is that, especially when you're getting into the technical side of technology, is that when you get into any organization or any team, you must know that there's house rules. Yes, you're gonna get people with different perceptions, you're gonna get there with different perceptions, but you need to understand that there's things that you'll be able to change, right, from your colleagues, but there's also things that you need to adapt to survive. And I want to stress that you adapting those attributes does not make you less of a woman. It's for survival. You will need it, trust me. If you're gonna choose the technical side of IT, you definitely gonna get those attributes that you need to adapt. The second one, which being problem solving skills. I promise you, whether you want to be a programmer or you want to be a machine learning specialist, most of your time you spend it understanding and analyzing a problem. The programming language is there to help you. It's actually a tool to help you deliver the solution. But you need to be able, when you are given a problem, to be able to compute it, to understand it, and be able to plug in a tool. You should not depend on the programming language. You should depend mostly on your problem-solving skills. And that's the second skill that you need to attain that will take you far. And the third one is the quality of work that you produce. I often say this to women that we have all these movements that we are pushing to try and break this gender inequality. And we've tried seminars, we've tried, speaking to our male counterparts, but there's something that we're not focusing on, which is the quality of the work that we produce. What I realized in my career is that I did less of talking. What I produced did the talking for me. And that is what got me where I am. Because what that does, it ties into what Hen said, right, about personal branding. And I want you to understand the importance or the beauty of branding. When you got it right, it speaks on your behalf in your absence. That is so powerful. If you have attained the attributes of being a good programmer who produces good quality code, and you can, in your absence, get people to sing the same song about you, then you have done it in life. And that's what worked for me. Those three things, I've adapted them, and in less than 5 years, like in reality, the role that I've attained now, I should have attained it in like 8 years to 10 years in my career. But through my credibility, they were able to say, you know what, girl, you got this. We believe in you. We've seen your work. Take it. And that's what I did.
Getting to meet people, upgrading your standard, going despite the odds. You said so many things. Thank you so, so much for that, Faith. Thank you so much. And hinging and leveraging on what you have said, I think I would ask Joy, right? For someone who is in cybersecurity, it's not the place that a lot of people go to. I remember during my time when I was a fellow in the Women Techsters Fellowship, right? We had so many people in this, right? We had them in software development, but when it comes to things like I know product management didn't have the old buzz the way it does now, but cybersecurity wasn't somewhere you find a lady or many ladies in. So how did you make that decision to get in there, and what has it been like for you being a woman in tech in that area?
I wouldn't say it's a decision that I ideally made. I think cybersecurity found me because I remember a while back. I haven't been in the space for so long, only I think 2 years to about 2 years thereabout. So I was invited to this call by a ladies group actually in Kenya, and they were talking about cryptographic roles, and I was like, "What are these?" So I wanted to really understand what that was. So when I went back to school, I was still in campus. I researched, I tried to understand what is it about cryptographic rules, and I came to learn all about cybersecurity and what cybersecurity entails. And I realized something. In as much as I was doing web development, IoT development, it wasn't as fulfilling for me as when I started doing penetration tests or trying to get into people's systems and ideally trying to defend them. So that's why I think I got into cybersecurity, because every day in cybersecurity, it's a learning journey. You get new attacks coming in every other day. You have to basically be on your toes to make sure that your client is safe at all times. And maybe something I've learned being in the industry for a couple of years is always be an asset wherever you go. You might come in as an intern, as I actually started off, but if you're not an asset to the organization you're in, they will ideally not think about you if they need to maybe take up an employee or give you a new project. You also need to be able to work in the team that you are assigned to, because at times we realize that people have their shortcomings. I might be hot-tempered, and somebody else might be very talkative, and I don't like talkative people. But it's ideally up to you to learn to work with that team, because every organization works in a team. And maybe the third thing I would say is just believe in yourself. I think if you believe in yourself, you can do anything you put your mind to doing. Right now, I think I'm doing forensics. I never thought I would do it, but here I am. So yeah, it's basically what you put your mind to.
Wow, that's so inspiring. That's really so inspiring. I hear someone say that you said they should be an asset wherever they go, and I think that that speaks a lot, right? So if you are really an asset, to be hard for your employer to let you go, even after you're done with your internship, even after you're done with what you're there to do, whether a contract staff, whatever, right? And it makes so much sense. I really love to hear that. Thank you so much for speaking to that. Um, my next question is to Head again, because a lot of women in tech have so many challenges, right? So, and for all of us who have gone into tech, we had expectations. I mean, right now in Nigeria, I'm not sure if it's the same in your country. People say if you want blood money, you want money, plenty money, get into tech. I mean, that's what everybody tells you. And then you get into tech and you're like, God, this thing is coming for my neck. And it's not what you expected. So I want to ask you, what was product management for? What was product design for you, right? Because we have a lot of people here who want to get into tech because of the money. And I'm like, should we tell them? Maybe we should, right? So let's get into what were the challenges for you? What were your expectations? And how were you able to manage the expectations even after you didn't get it? And in times when it felt like, oh, I think I want to give up at this point, what was it for you? What did you do, right? Can you give us practical steps on how your journey went to help our journey as well?
I could say that the thing that I never expected when I first started as a product designer is how the amount of responsibility that I have to bear and carry and handle during working on any project. Because before I shifted my career, I always thought that designers would have their laptop, go sit in a coffee shop, have their coffee, chillax, and they have no stress whatsoever, and they just make money out of nothing. And it turns out that this is not the case at all. Being a product designer has to do with so many other things. It has to do with developing a set of skills, essential skills actually, that make it easier for you to progress in your career. For example, before working as a designer, my communication skills were so poor. I always got shy and nervous when I had to communicate with people, either from the same team that I'm working in or from other teams, when I had to communicate with a client, for example. But after working as a product designer, it actually polished and strengthened my communication skills, because I have to deal with all the other teams that are involved in the product design. For example, I have to communicate with the developers, I have to communicate with the product manager, I have to at sometimes communicate with the business stakeholders. So this was very new to me, and at the very beginning was very stressful as well, but I couldn't help but look at it as something that would improve one of the skills that I lacked at that time. One more thing is the amount of responsibility that I have, because as I recall, the first job I had as a product designer, the first full-time job I had, I was the only designer at that company. There was no other designer, there were no designers other than me, and I was in charge of all the projects that the company worked on before I joined them, and also all the new projects that they wanted or they had in their pipeline and their backlog. So it was stressful. Of course, it was very stressful, but I always like being put in a place where I'm challenged to do something. I looked at it as a challenging thing, that I have to overcome this fear, I have to overcome this stress, because whenever I'm being challenged, I know I do my best. I know I go the extra mile. I know I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done in a perfect way, not just get it done the way it's supposed to. So yeah, this is mainly the thing that I never expected before working as a product designer. I always wanted to have my coffee and sit in a coffee shop and just work in the early morning, having nothing on my mind, having nothing to worry about. But actually it turned out to be more fun than this, because as I told you, being challenged is something that I enjoy, is something that pushes me to go further. So it actually turned out to be much more fun than I thought.
Awesome, amazing. I love that you were so practical and you just came out and said, see, I was expecting that I'll be in the coffee shop. I think I was just expecting that I'll just be earning dollars. Don't be sending dollars to me and let me just be rested. I mean, that was all we were expecting. Just for us to get into it, like, come on, this thing is not looking like what we expected, right? So it seems like you have to put in the work, you have to build, painfully and sometimes purposefully, of course, because you understand what you're going to meet at the end of the day, right? And I love what Women Techsters is doing. So part of the things that they're doing is looking at women learning, collaborating together, and then going out to do their own thing, intern with other organizations, and come up with really amazing initiatives. And that's so great, right? So I want to also ask Faith the same question, but this time I need you to also mention, for you in your own space, what were the milestones, or what are the milestones that you have achieved right now? Right? You're looking at me and saying, I think I'm a fulfilled Techsters, right? So what are the milestones you've had, and also what have the challenges been, and how have you been able to attack them?
I think the biggest milestone, it ties back to what has been said of being an asset. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, you are.
So I've always, I still now, I hate the admin that comes with looking for a job. And I was, I had an internal conversation with myself. I was like, how do I then get recruiters to just job hunt, like, to headhunt me, and not me busy going on portals? And I can tell you, since I started working, I only looked for a job once. All the jobs I've gotten after, it was through LinkedIn, being headhunted. And that for me, it was something that I've always wanted for myself, and I've achieved it. But another thing that I wanted to highlight is when I think it's across all programmers, because we are used to the idea of sitting behind the computer and just like, we don't want anything else, we just want to deal with the code. And I struggled with climbing the ladder such that I had to leave that behind and focus more on people. And some of my friends who have actually joined here will attest to that I got promotions along the way to go to the management or senior management positions, and I didn't take them because I kind of felt like I was not ready to deal with people. I just wanted to code. And that was an internal struggle. I know one of you may look at that and think it's a luxury. For me, it was an internal struggle because I had to get to a point where I was comfortable leaving what I love, right? And just like focusing more on the responsibilities of dealing with people. And it took a lot of convincing. It took a lot of shadowing people in these roles and finding out exactly how is their day-to-day lives. It took a lot of, mentorship. And the biggest one was to come back to the reality that, girl, at some point you will have to leave the code. Like there's no other way, and with all those components combined, I was like, you know what, maybe this is the time. If it's not the time, I will move back again. Let me just try it. I mean, it won't hurt, right? It won't hurt to test the waters. And if it's not for me, it's fine. I will go back to coding. And little did I know that, no, this it is. It is for me. I am loving everything about it. I thought coding was my life. I thought building models from a, data science perspective was my life, but also dealing with people, it's amazing. You get an opportunity to meet with great talent. And I think what really motivates me every day is I want to look back and be like, and look at someone and be like, oh, those people came from my hands. I think that is so fulfilling. And to be given that opportunity to actually practice that, it is so heartwarming and it's so fulfilling. The biggest thing for me definitely was this milestone, but fortunate enough, I'm definitely enjoying it. And I'm so grateful of that, that it turned out to be a total different experience than what I have perceived initially.
Wow, awesome. I love that. That's so inspiring. Thank you so much, Faith. My next question is to Joy. So Joy, I would love you to take us through, there are a lot of things that people say about women being in tech, right? So a lot of times women have to remind the general public that when they have a milestone or when they get something, they did not sleep their way through it. Because a lot of times that's what people say. Oh, she slept her way through it. Oh, she did this, she did that, shady jobs and all of that to get the role, shady jobs to get this. Women in tech are not paid so much. That might not be a misconception, right? Because it happens in a lot of places, right? But want to be able to say, what are the things that people actually say about women in tech or about being a woman in tech, right? Or having an occupation in tech? And how would you help us? I need you to take those misconceptions and break them down for us. What do you think about them? What are those misconceptions? And how can you, unravel them?
Maybe before I answer that, I would like to say thanks to Faith because your advice has come at a time when I'm ideally transitioning a little into management. And I was trying to understand what that would look like for me, but I think now I have the courage to actually take that step. But back to the question, challenges that women face in tech. I think most of us just fear because we think it's a guy kind of an environment, but I don't think that's true. And this is why. I was at an event a while back. It was for peer-to-peer mentorship by Microsoft. And this guy approached me and he told me, Joy, my greatest fear is that a lady knows what I do, or rather has the same skill that I have and does it better. Because ideally, if I go to a company and that lady applies to the same company, chances are I will never get that job. We have a lot of power, but I think we just shy away from it because we've been given that notion of this is a guy thing, but we can do it way better than them. Let me say this, nobody quote me out there, but I believe we can do it way better than them. And it's something I've seen ladies do time and again. It might be the organizational skills, I don't know, but just know that guys out there fear you because they know if you can do what they are doing, then they'll be ideally out of jobs.
Wow, wow, that's so amazing. That's so amazing, right? And I hear what you say, when you talk about this. And I feel like it's based off of the fact that we have an idea. We have a conception, which is a misconception of what it feels like to be a woman, what it feels like to be in a particular industry, what it feels like to, just being a woman. You just have that idea saying, I don't think I can do it. I mean, I'm a woman. Who am I, to do that? But I love what you said, where you said that guy said that if we have the same skills, they're definitely going to choose you. And I think that every single woman here should have that in mind. That, see, guys, I was talking to a friend today and she was posting people in her workplace. At the end of the day, I realized that they had more females than male. I'm like, what's going on, right? Are you people employing only women? I had to ask, like, are you employing only women? I have women that I can come and introduce to you. And she's like, no, but we have more women than men. And I think right now, women in this generation are changing the narrative. There was a time that if you go to different workplaces, you find men around. You would hardly find a woman. And if you find a woman, she's a tomboy. So a tomboy is someone who is a girl, but trying to be a boy. And it happens all the time, most of the time, right? So I feel like that's really amazing. It's really amazing what you said. And Faith, I think that this question will be for you. You've spoken a lot about how, you must up your credibility. You must be able to do the things that you know how to do, network with people. But I want to speak to you about something that's very important when it comes to women, right? And this is outside some of the things that we've been talking about. But again, it's still related. How do women go out to talk about the work that they do? Because I find that this is something that is always a problem with women. Men will do one small thing and go to social media and announce like they've saved the whole world. But a woman will do a really amazing job, but you hardly find it on social media. It happens a lot, and it happens because of a lot of limitations that women think they have. So what do you think about that? Talking about the work that you do, building a portfolio and making, shouting about your work by yourself.
Yeah, I think the sad part is that most of women suffer from imposter syndrome. And we need to get to a space where we believe that we are worth it. We need to get to a space where we believe that, I actually love what one of the fellows said in that video. And she said, it is for me. And that's where we need to get to that point where we really believe that that job, it is for you, whether it's in, it's technical in IT or it's product design, you need to believe in yourself. But the biggest thing, or the biggest advice that I would give when it comes to that, is to focus on your personal branding, as I've said earlier on, right? Let's forget about social media right now. When you get a chance, let's say you get an internship, or you get an opportunity to shadow someone for a week, what I usually do when I get to a new environment or when I get to a new workplace, I ask people, who is important? Who should I know? And I always tell people that as much as your intellectual capacity will be recognized, it is also about who you know. And you need to filter that in. So in your journey, you need to prioritize networking, and you need to put yourself out there to have conversations, have coffee with people, and just put your brand out there. But it's not as simple as I said, because I myself, I spent like 2 years trying to identify what do I want to be known for. When I leave a room, what do I want people, to say about me? And there's so much help, like you can get online help. You can also get like mentors that will actually help you to identify what you want to be known for, right? And at the beginning, you might not get it right. It's also okay to rebrand, right? It's okay not to get it right at the first time. It's okay to rebrand at a later stage. But the biggest thing is for you to focus on making sure that you move your brand internally in the organization. Yes, in social media, there's so much noise, right? And I think IT recruiters, they hardly check that unless if you create your portfolio in GitHub. Those who are familiar with programming, like whenever you do a piece of work, just push it in GitHub, and whenever you apply for internship, showcase that. to the recruiters to say that, yes, I don't have a formal experience in the industry, but this is what I've been playing with. And that counts actually. So that's one way you can build your profile, but you also need to have your own voice. If you don't do it for yourself, no one will. If you're gonna just sit in the corner, that will be the end of you, especially in tech. I always tell people that one thing I love about tech is the unknown and the discomfort it comes with. And what that means for you is that you being relevant today does not mean you're relevant tomorrow. You need to constantly put yourself out there and upskill. And just to summarize this, the portfolio focus on putting on GitHub, focus on networking, and focus on branding yourself.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. You said so many things. I want to take this round the room, right? What's the best advice you have ever been given? What's that thing that someone has told you that has helped you in your life and your career, right? And how would you advise other women in tech or other women who are looking at getting into tech? What would be your advice for them? I want us to answer that two-edged sword question, right? So, Hen, would you go for it first?
Yeah. So first, I want to say something to Faith. I couldn't agree more with what you just said about branding yourself. And this is actually one of the advices that I would give to all the women out there, because luckily in product design, the platform that a designer could share their work on is much more recognizable than GitHub. It's Behance, for example, is a visual platform. It depends mainly on visuals. So visuals are more recognized and more noticeable and more visible for people. So I would first of all, I would advise all the product designers out there, all the women, not only women, all the product designers, either newbies, either experts, no matter how experienced you are, you have to always be keen on sharing your work, because this is the only way you're going to be noticed, you're going to be recognized by the work that you do. And you have to maintain a specific style, a specific a set standard of quality for your work, because this is also the thing that would make other people admire and appreciate the work that you do and actually be inspired by it. This was the main focus of my early stages as a product designer, because I could see how experienced the other designers are out there, and I had to compete with them. Some designers, some female designers might be insecure about sharing their work. They might feel that no one's going to notice my work if I share it on LinkedIn or on Behance or wherever. But this is not true. You have to start doing this. You have to start sharing your work, and by time, people are going to notice you. So this is one thing. The other thing is to make sure to maintain a lifelong learning habit, because learning never stops. It's never enough knowledge. You never have enough knowledge on a certain topic or a certain subject. You have to always make sure to keep learning new stuff. You have to make sure to always explore new things, even if they're not related to what you're doing, even if they're not related to your job as a product designer or as a developer or whatever. You have to explore new things, because this is how you train your mind to be flexible and to work smarter whenever it comes to solving a problem, because by then you would have knowledge on different topics, on different subjects, which would help you better solve and analyze any problem or any situation that you're facing. The last thing is to always look for the source of the information. I don't really rely or trust YouTube videos that are done by people who read an article written by someone on LinkedIn or on Facebook. I don't trust these things. I only trust the main source of information, the main source of the knowledge. Books, for example, blogs written by authors of or inventors or creators of a certain concept or a certain book, for example. So always go for the original source of information. Don't rely on untrustworthy resources on the internet, because there are many of those, and they are very good at making themselves appear as trustworthy and original. And also, they don't provide the complete information. They only provide bits and pieces of the information. You have to find and seek the complete knowledge on any given subject. That's it. I hope my advices would really help all the newbies or the techies out there to advance and progress in their careers, either product designers, developers, or whatever. This is actually something for anyone out there to help them improve their framework and the way they get things done.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hen. Thank you. That was phenomenal. Joy, please go for it.
I think Hen has mentioned something I was going to say. It's always a learning process. You can't learn everything, basically. New things are coming up every other day, and it's up to you to learn. But in as much as you're learning, I know as we start off our careers, we're trying to get as many certifications as possible, and that's okay. But remember, it doesn't matter how many resources you have if you cannot use those resources. You might have 1,000,001 certificates, but if you can't remember what you studied, then you just have 1,000,001 certificates, but you'll not be able to apply your knowledge. So even though you're learning, you're studying, you're taking your certifications, remember it's a resource, but be able to basically apply that resource in your day-to-day